Hi, I'm a veteran, and you can thank me for my service. Please don't, for the love of God. Service members are very flattered that you're thankful for what they do, but on behalf of everyone, it just sets off this chain reaction of awkward activity, and no one knows what to do with it. But you know who does need to be thanked for their service? These armies, guards, military members from these Nintendo franchises that are so incompetently trained, poorly armed, and just otherwise incompetent that you wonder what the recruiters were telling them before they signed up. And meanwhile, in these games, you have the protagonist that is saving the world, doing what your armies couldn't, traveling through time, and all the while, the only thing you can do is take a bullet for the princess. And for all those military members standing in harm's way, we salute you, brethren. And before I have a stern talking to you recruiters, I'm going to highlight the 5 Nintendo armies that are the worst to enlist in. Oh my gosh, and I thought I had a bad recruiter. Could have gone nuke, he said. I could have gone nuke. The Mushroom Kingdom would be one of the worst places to serve in the military. Imagine you have an army of toads and they're all given the same exact employee orientation. It's kind of like a situation where you worked at an Outback steakhouse and it's like, okay, here's these things. Here's how you prepare a blooming onion and here's how you serve your guests. And just in the bottom part of the paperwork of that same employee orientation, it's like, also, there's this giant fire-breathing dragon that will bring your workplace and send it up into space. Good luck breathing. You are given the capabilities of a normal housekeeper who's just a normal servant. And we're at this constant threat that's always happening. And in the span of 30 years, you've had countless attacks. And the princess is just like, the plumber, he's got it. He'll fix it for us. At what point does leadership throw up their hands like, we've got a land where I can throw fire just by picking a flower, and you're not gonna give me anything? Is that too much to ask? She's like, yeah, probably. I've gotta go play tennis. I'm gonna throw you in front of a punch from Smash Brothers. The courage of toads is absolutely on display. No matter how poorly armed they are, which they're not, they still throw themselves in front of the princess because they love her so much. But I'm like, bro, just leave the kingdom. This girl's crazy. What do I gotta say? I know it's not a military per se, it's an evil mob organization, but they act kind of military-like, so we're gonna talk about those too. But what the hell is going on with Team Rocket? Someone needs to properly talk to Giovanni about properly running an organization as an evil entity. You're getting your butt kicked by 10-year-olds. In the world of the Pokemon universe, anyone can capture anything from a pocket of keys to the creator of everything. Just put it in a ball and it's yours. And for some reason, you have as a military standard issued a firearm of a Coughing or an Ekans, and everyone's got the same exact weak poison type. Let them catch anything they want. Just use your electro to blow off the sides of a bank and steal the contents within to fund your evil empire. Instead, you're taking on a 10-year-old in a corporate building. This is not what I signed up for. This recruiting poster sucks. There's a giant electric bird. One city down. None of us want to catch that thing. Maybe get the cool evil types. Nobody wants a Gengar or an Alakazam. No, we're grabbing an Ekans. You got the snake. No step on snake. Why is there so much honor among thieves? You have a 10-year-old that walks in your workplace and that says, I'm gonna crush this empire, or says nothing, because you know how Red is. And you're an evil gangster. You say no, and you pull a knife. Throw that man into prison. Take his Pokeball. Why are we doing this one-on-one? He's kicking everyone's butt. If you feel bad about fighting a 10-year-old, which I guess fair, just steal his phone and pretend to be a principal and call his mom and get him sent home. And she will never believe that her 10-year-old boy went off to fight an evil terrorist organization on his own. Get rid of the guy. Giovanni, fix your people. Jesus, I'm a better crime boss than you. Huh. If I learned anything from Breath of the Wild, it's that enlisting in the Hyrule army would be the worst idea. Breath of the Wild finally pointed out that having one boy with a stick against a giant cataclysmic cloud evil demon that is always meant to come back is probably not the best idea. Not only do your historians know that it's not an if, but when, you'll basically just have a dark alien invasion at all times. Maybe we should do something about it. Maybe we should have some kind of ancient giant space lasers so that we could fight this thing off instead of putting the fate of our world with like some teenage boy. And for some reason, we lost that technology to time. We just buried it up and we called it a day. Sorry, not the best plan, guys. And so with all that in mind, you have the technology to take on gods. And somehow, when you enlisted, they gave you a spear and nothing else. And the best thing I've ever seen the guards do is guard a plot in the Hyrule Gardens and Ocarina of Time. Sounds like a terrible existence. Why is nobody trained here? We have space lasers. We have ancient arrows that can kill anything where they stand. And somehow, one teenage boy with nothing remarkably special about him is able to do anything about him. This boy just has a collection of stuff from just a bunch of temples around and just went to the souvenir shop. And now he can kill God. But the entire army was like, yep, what if we just guarded shit instead? Someone's got to talk to Mama Zelda about outfitting her military members with some better training or some better weapons. You're basically got like the Buckingham Palace Guard taking on the aliens from Independence Day, and it always happens and we're not doing anything about it. The Agnes and Keves kingdoms from Xenoblade 3 are the worst militaries to enlist in. Not that you really have a choice in this world, but if you did, I would say go AWOL. Here's the situation. You have two kingdoms locked into an eternal cycle of war, where both kingdoms are fighting to replace something called a time clock. When you kill an enemy from the opposite side, it refills a time clock that enables your kingdom to keep fighting on. Being able to refill the kingdom also allows you the capability to keep fighting. Now, in this situation, the kingdoms are not fighting for any real specific reason other than to replace these time clocks. And when you're in the first chapters, you as a protagonist just stab through this time clock, freeing the people. And I'm wondering why no one ever tried this. It's like if you've ever served in the military and you have one like hard charging E6 that has something for a department to do, and so everyone's doing this thing because he thinks it's well intentioned and it's important somehow. And then you have in another department, you have another E6 that's trying to make chief next year, and he's got another task that seems important, and so everyone's doing that too. But the problem is the two mission statements are directly counterproductive to the other, so you have everyone's just in this cycle of busyness and doing things that are directly contradictory to the actions of the other one. Imagine that, but with your life on the line. Great. You're now an Agnes soldier. And it's not even for well-intentioned, hard-working leaders, in this case in the Agnes and Keves kingdoms. It's for these kooky cartoon villains called consuls, who are the definition of counterproductivity in action. This game actually asks a lot of interesting questions about what it's like for life and what it would be like to live in a world where you're locked in endless combat. But it's like, just how bad is a military that not a single historian has noticed not only that reincarnation exists, but that there's bigger reasons for all of this to go on. The second anyone notices a name tag from a soldier that has died from a long time back that directly looks like someone who they were friends with years ago, something should have popped in someone's head. But for 1,000 years, no one figures it out. Thank God we're the protagonists here. This would have been awful. But I'm gonna throw all that reasoning out the window because I really like these games. But I guess it's not all bad if you serve in one of these kingdoms. I mean, look, you can have highlights in your hair. Wear a crop top. It's the only thing I ever wanted in the military. Yippee! Heaven's Forces and Bayonetta highlight just how terrible it is to do the right thing for your entire life. I'm not really sure how people become angels in this case, but when you die and do the right thing your entire life and go to, I guess, their perception of heaven, you go to Paradiso, I think. I don't know what's going on. I don't think anyone does, but who cares? It's a great game. So I can't imagine serving my whole life, giving back to my community, taking care of the poor, being a wonderful person that's well-intentioned, and I go and breathe my last breath, and I'm now in heaven, but for some reason, I'm the face on one of those sword guys, or a face, or one of the multiple cherubim faces on this hellish nightmare you call it. It's like a brain, but with like tentacles. But imagine you wake up and you're one of those faces. I assume all of them have sentience. I'm a normal person on Earth. Why do I get ugly when I go to the afterlife? Like if I go to hell, maybe I become like one of those metal badass monsters. But no, I'm just this ugly mess of tendrils and faces and hair and eyes, and that's it. And I'm not doing anything like serving goodwill towards man and doing the best for humanity for the life that remains on Earth. I'm just fighting witches. I'm just wondering how I could fill out the application process to be like a sexy boob lady like Joy, so I can at least have some cool dance moves if I'm gonna be stuck in this situation. That's not too much to ask. So there you go, 5 Nintendo militaries that you shouldn't be enlisting in. I mean, not that you can. None of this is real, I think. But next time you go to Super Nintendo World and employee walks up with a sheet of paperwork and asks you to sign, make sure it's not asking for a contract with the Mushroom Kingdom for the 5 years. Is now you know. I saved you. You're welcome. And yeah, thanks so much for watching. I'm honestly flattered by all of you who spend the time to watch whatever these are. I'm having a great time and I love making them. And thanks for witnessing this journey with me. Whatever. You guys are great. Have a great day and I'll see ya. Okay, I'm back. So you know how in Bayonetta 3, Viola starts the game as like a soldier for a multiverse traveling army? And then by the end credits, she's going to school for, I assume, music appreciation or whatever she's majoring in. And that scene is a step in the right direction, as like a progress for her. And with those small details and nothing about this army set in play, the fact that this army, not only can you travel the multiverse, you also get veterans benefits like the GI Bill, makes this army the best Nintendo army that I've seen yet. And that is not the hot take I thought I would ever come away with this video from, but there it is. And I would love to hear your comments about what armies could be better, but there it is.